No, I'm lucky enough to say that I haven't personally suffered from cyber violence.
I have not personally been the victim of large amounts of cyber violence. I mean, I think a lot of people are just kind of unkind on the internet without cause, but it's never been to an alarming degree with me personally.
Yes. There are a lot of people on the internet, as you can say, that they're trolls, and they just often leave very hurtful comments. But at the same time, it could also be people that you know that leave those sort of comments.
No, I haven't had such experience.
I personally have never experienced cyber violence, but I have witnessed my friend suffer from cyber violence. I haven't, but I have heard a lot of people have because internet is used by a lot of people nowadays, and I heard news while I was in high school. I heard that a lot of people have suffered, but personally I haven't.
Yes, I had, especially on computer games, which people curse a lot when I'm not being a good player.
Because I'm a gamer, I play a lot of games. I do meet a lot of cyberbully.
Yes, I have had friends who I've seen suffer from cyber violence. People saying mean things to them over the internet. Sometimes people who they do know, but other times people who they don't know. So their feelings about the cyber violence, they're very hurt. Often they feel very alone, especially when it's people who they know, who they know outside of the internet, and feeling like they can't trust people because someone who they may know and they think cares about them is their friend, and then they get on the internet and say mean things about them. So I think that can be very confusing and make them feel alone.
Oh, they sound pretty angry. A lot of cursing words.
Yes, they have also suffered from violence before. They feel very hurt, and also they feel like they don't have anyone to talk to about cyber violence because it's not as if they have the evidence on who the person is and they can't track their identity. So it's very easy for those people to just hurt my friends.
Once she participated in a reality show and some audience didn't like her performance, so people started searching her social media accounts and comment about bad things to her. In the end, she deleted all of her social media accounts.
Yes, so once my friend has traveled to England and she was being stolen, and she posted her experience to Instagram, but most people blame for her carelessness. So actually, the cyber violence makes she feel really impressed and yes, cause bad effects on her.
Yes, I have had a few friends who have had either smear campaigns launched against them, or who have been bullied on the internet, or who have been harassed on social media, or perhaps in the comment section of their YouTube video or something. I've had a few friends who have experienced that.
Also my friends, and also they express the feeling of cyberbully when they are playing games angrily.
My friends, I don't think they have, but previously, because it's widely it's a very a controversial topic. I guess they haven't, but if they have, I guess they won't tell me or tell other people, because for those who have suffered from cyber violence, they probably won't be willing to talk about what they've suffered because it might be embarrassing. They might feel bad. So, but my friends, they probably haven't.
I think that that cyber violence is a very real and very it's a very present issue that happens, and especially as the internet, especially as electronics become more and more of our reality, I think that it's going to be a growing issue, and it's not going to go away. Like I said, it's like a new tool that we need to learn how to use, but we can't withdraw from it and we can't hide from it. We need to address the issue, and it's a very real, very physical, practical problem, and some people might brush over it because it's online and that doesn't seem as real, but it's equally as harmful.
So actually, for the cyber violence, I think the problem is really serious worldwide because, especially for young people, the cyber violence causes really bad effects on them, and most of young people get depression from the cyber violence.
My view on cyber violence is that it's really just another portrayal of real life violence. I think that it's easy to say that the internet is causing people to be mean and to be bullies, but bullies have always existed. It's just unfortunately another platform that bullies have now, and they are now able to do it behind a screen. They don't always have to do it in real life, which I think makes people feel a little bit more powerful and more bold to say things that they maybe wouldn't say to people if they were face to face.
I think this is a big issue because there are actually a lot of victims in our lives. It has caused a lot of young people physically and emotionally break down.
I do understand this point, but I don't see there's actually a very good solution here because first, if you try to block the accounts for people who are trying to do cyberbullying, it will still cause problem because when they unlock their accounts, they will still do the same thing. And if you try to express a law that is focused on cyberbullying, some people might like upset because like some people will do say that it is the contradiction with the core of the American, which is the free speech.
My view, because it's like a cyber violence is bad, but you can't really control like those people behind the internet, so it's bad, but I guess people has to do something. People have to like realize they are doing something that may be harmful to other people. So I guess they really have to like reconsider like what they're doing in order to stop and prevent where people are experiencing this like kind of violence.
I think that cyber violence is a very difficult issue to solve because a lot of people, they suffer from cyber violence and some even commit suicide due to cyber violence. So I think that this is a matter that the internet should be responsible for, and we should be more responsible when it comes to using the internet.
It's definitely not a healthy environment for internet sports and online gaming. I believe it can be fixed and it should be fixed.
I think that the internet is very useful, for example, Google, but then at the same time, there's a lot of false information on the internet, so it depends on the sources that you use and the people that write the articles.
I mean, partially because like while we are in school, we use like internet to search up like different information that is like related to education, related to class. So I guess for like Google is probably one of like the commonly used websites. So we tend to believe what the internet tells us, but in terms of like social media, people may be like gossiping about this person or like a celebrity, like that kind of stuff. I think without like the actual confirmation from the actual person, I think I wouldn't believe what the internet is saying.
I think half and half for news or other official news, I believe in internet. But for some other things like the comments below or some other news, I don't believe.
No, I don't believe what the internet tells me because I think in a digital environment, everyone can hide their true identity. So I only trust what I see in my life.
Yeah, I personally don't believe everything that the internet tells me. If I hear something, I like to check a few sources or see where it came from or who said it, and maybe what their biases were towards. A lot of things, like, you know, I'll believe Wikipedia or I'll believe an encyclopedia. Just because it's in print doesn't make me like mistrust it. But if there's kind of a wild claim that happens, I'll try and look into it and see what both sides are.
That's an interesting question. I don't always believe what people on the internet say. I think that the internet is used for both good and bad. I think that sometimes people say good things about themselves and others that aren't necessarily true because it sounds like the good thing to say. I think that in the same way, people say mean things about others that they don't mean just to get a reaction or just to make people upset because unfortunately, a lot of people like to make other people hurt. And that's, the internet has become a platform for people to do that.
It depends. If I'm researching on official websites, I do believe their knowledge is.
Yes, sometimes I do.
I think that my own opinion is, valuable enough for me. And I also think that oftentimes people will comment on things when they have something negative to say. Rarely people will just comment on something, oh yeah, I liked that. Usually it's a very tumultuous pot of negativity, so I try to stay out.
Actually, I seldom comment to someone who I don't know, except for someone I feel really handsome or beautiful, that I really want to put a comments below it.
I sometimes like to comment good things to someone I don't know or ask them about the things I'm curious about, but I don't leave any mocking or aggressive comments.
I usually won't because I keep all my social media account personal, private. I wouldn't just comment under random people's posts or any of their status or because you don't know who that person is, or because you're behind the internet, you don't even know if the person is faking their identity or telling lies. So I usually wouldn't comment on their Instagram or Facebook, mainly because I don't know who that person is and I don't want to offend them if I say anything, so I wouldn't.
No, I don't say negative things. I have a general policy, which I guess I was told as a child that if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I try not to make negative comments on people's things online. The only time that I will say something to people that I don't know is if I feel like they're saying something harmful. Like if I feel like someone is saying something that's very oppressive towards others or racist or sexist, then sometimes I will call them out and say that that's not an appropriate thing to say or that they're wrong.
Sometimes I do. Maybe I can give them suggestions. Instead of cursing, I would ask or say really nicely.
I think that both can be equally as harmful. I think that, it doesn't make it less harmful because you're alone in your room with it. That could even make it more emotionally and mentally harmful than just a punch in the face, because that will still hurt and that will still cause trauma, but it's not as internalized and it's not as lonely as experiencing this kind of violence alone,
Yeah. I think that virtual is more harmful because they can constantly contact you and find you in different places by just making a new identity, and they hide behind the internet, so it's a mask, while in reality you can just avoid the person or just never see that person again and they can't harm you.
I think that they're equally as harmful in different ways, of course, but I think that the internet can have real effects on people's self-esteem, especially children. Something that I've realized a lot is that young people who have grown up in a world where the internet has always existed, there's no line between real life and internet life. It's all the same thing. That's where part of their life lives online. So telling them that if someone says something mean to them online, it doesn't really matter. I don't think that that's fair. I think that they both matter equally. It just depends on the person. I think that people who are even millennials or the generation before us, I think it's hard for us to sometimes understand that the internet is real life for younger people because we grew up in a time where social media didn't exist, and the relationships that you forged and the things that people said to you in real time, that's what mattered the most. But I think that we're starting to understand the consequences of things that happen online.
I think in a sense it's virtual, but I would say it's virtual because with internet, if a certain thing happened, like the whole world will know. So the news like spreads very fast virtually. Compared to reality, there's only like probably a group of people that knows you would know about, like, say if you're like experiencing, if somebody's like posting something bad about you, in reality and virtually, like the bad stuff they said will spread, other people will see, like even like people from another state or another country, compared to in reality, somebody said bad things in front of your face, but you only the person that surrounds you, only the people that you know will probably know about it. So I think that virtually like violence will be more harmful.
So actually, I think from my perspective, reality is more harmful because for the virtual one, I can just ignore it or I just don't see it, but for the reality one, it's actual existence.
I think both of them can have this equal effects, because hurting someone doesn't need to be face to face. A single word or a sentence can leave a shadow in one's life.
Definitely reality. Virtual world can give me some kind of entertainment, but not as much as reality.
I think that you just have to be very careful of what you put on the internet and how much personal information like flows through the internet, and also to just like add your own friends and like comment less on public posts.
I think that a big way that we can try and, combat this is by understanding how to responsibly use technology and responsibly use the internet, and to educate people on the harmful effects and let people know that what they do say matters, and to keep people informed about how negative this can really be.
So I think this question can be answered from two perspectives. The first one is from the governmental perspective. I think government can publish a relative law to prevent the cyber violence. And from personal view, I think education is an effective way to raise the cultural literacy. And also, I think we have to think from other people's perspective. Think more before typing.
I think we should raise people's awareness about this issue, let more people know about it, especially teaching kids or young adults how to identify cyber violence and how to stand up to it safely.
I think that this is going to sound really cynical, but I don't know if there's a solution to violence online, at least not immediately. I think that one of the ways that we can reduce it or make it better is to really let children know that everyone is equal, and to not have children feel like they have to talk down on others or bully others or be mean to other people to feel better about themselves. Because I think that that's the root of it, that people feel like if they say bad things about someone else, it'll make them feel better. Especially children, they're really struggling with self-esteem, and if they feel like they'll do anything to try to make themselves feel better, because they're growing up just trying to figure things out, and if they don't have any guidance from the adults around them, then that's what they're going to do. So I think that if we started with like young people and helping them to grow up in a world that makes them feel like they don't have to be evil to feel accepted, or that they don't have to make other people feel small for themselves to be big, I think that will definitely help them with treating other people much kinder. And then hopefully over the years, everyone will be a little bit kinder to each other, both on and offline.
Cyber violence, I think that a person has to, like I said, like a person has to like keep everything private and not to get involved with other people behind the internet who you don't know. So because you don't know who that person is, what is their like intention. So I think just stay quiet and do not like offend other people, because there may be people that want to like get revenge if you say something bad about them. So don't say something bad, and always consider what we say to other people, because our words can offend them also. So I guess we all have to like be careful what we say, whether in reality or through internet.
Definitely education will help. Another method I've been thought about will be the real name system. So when registering computer game, like online gaming accounts, people will have to provide their ID, and that's to prevent online cyber violence.
I think a permanent block of the accounts might be possible solution, and I do see that there should be some internet police for this kind of actions in order to stop people from bullying people on internet. And like for example, Twitter. If you have a bully like incident on Twitter, and some kind of internet police should focus on this kind of problem and locate their IP or accounts and do some warnings to them, and then do certain actions in order to stop this kind of cyberbullying.
I want to say that you should stop because there are a lot of incidences where some people aren't as strong as others and they actually succumb to those false comments. So it should be an issue that everybody should be more conscious of.
I want to tell them that you matter, you're important, and you don't have to make other people online feel like they don't matter in order to make yourself feel good. I want to tell them that you're good enough, you matter, we're listening to you, you don't have to spread evil in order to get attention.
For those keyboard guys, I just want to say, please think more before you make your comments, because you have never know that what your comments may cause positive young people become depressed, or it will cause bad effects on them.
There are a lot of healthy ways for emotional release. Attacking someone online is definitely not the right one. You should be responsible for what you say to others online.
I think those people have to consider other people's feelings and put themselves in the place of those who are suffering from the cyberbullying, the cyber violence, and actually consider their feelings and think about how they would feel if they are the ones who suffer, who is suffering from the violence, and maybe just mind their own business and do something better.
I want to talk to you about the people who are trying to do cyberbullying. I want to tell you that it's very bad for you to express negative emotions to others, because certain actions might be caused because of you're saying to them, and it will hurt others' feelings and cause them to do serious problems, for example like suicide, which is a very bad thing for all of us.
May I curse?
Sure.
Oh, fuck you all.
Yeah.